Hi everyone, this is Heather with Stealing Hearts Homestead. Today is going to be working on my garden. I'm gonna have it where my pig used to be, so it's a 10 by 10 fenced off place so that way the dogs can't get into it. If you have not done so already, please do go ahead and subscribe down below, and I look forward to sharing this with you. So I went to Tractor Supply last night and I bought a new hose. It only cost me like $17. I was a little nervous because the last one that I bought at Ace Hardware and it was about the same price and it was really horrible hose. But this one has like a really nice heavy duty, thank you for your help, clasp to go on. So hopefully that'll be a lot easier. Obviously it's still gonna kink, but I think it won't spray water all over the place like my current one. And I got this at Tractor Supply for like $7. I also purchased some garlic, which I have so many seeds that I want to plant today. So gonna do that, and I'm just gonna prep the garden area. I am playing around with my garden setup. So my other video, I kind of went over all the different types of seeds that I have, and I've narrowed it down to the seeds that I'm going to put in my garden. So I had 2 planter boxes outside of my garden area where I will plant watermelon. So I have this, I think it kind of looks like a personal size watermelon, but it might not be. So I have a red watermelon, and then I also have an orange watermelon. And I've never tried orange, so it's gonna be a really cool experience to see what that tastes like. So I also got cabbage. I'm going to be planting a fair amount of cabbage. And the reason for that is because it's not just me that will eat it, the rabbits will eat it, and so will the chickens. So it's going to be for multiple different uses around here. So I have like a whole row dedicated to just cabbage. So zucchini squash, I've never actually tried a summer squash, so this will be something interesting. I'm not sure what it tastes like. So that'll be growing in one area of my garden. Lettuce, lots of lettuce, gonna be good for salads, and then again, multi-purpose. The rabbits can eat it as well. So I have quite a bit of lettuce that I have planted as well. Cucumbers are great for juices. So I'll be growing quite a few of those, as well as they'll be good for the rabbits too. So I have that I'm gonna plant, and then I have melons, which are gonna go inside of my garden. The other 2 that I showed that are watermelons, they're gonna be growing in my planter boxes that are actually located outside of my garden space. So I have midget cantaloupe. How big is a midget cantaloupe? It doesn't say. But I imagine if we're going by the name, it's going to be a rather small item. Might have to do some more research on that. And then we have jalapenos. Jalapenos are really good for adding some heat, some spice to different dishes and salsas. So those will come in handy. Some different type of sweet peppers. I haven't really eaten a whole lot of peppers. So the sweet peppers are going to be a new thing for me to try. And if I hate them, the rabbits will end up eating them because they are good for the rabbits. They're mostly made out of water, so as long as they're not spicy, the rabbits will eat them. Again, this is also a sweet pepper. Probably have to find some recipes on stuffed peppers and try some different things with them. Peas. If you happen to watch one of my other videos, the one that I went over with all the different seeds that I had, I have kind of like a hate-hate relationship with peas, but I'm hoping that I might be able to change that. So when I was growing up, my babysitter used to force feed me peas, and they were not fresh peas. I'm pretty sure they were canned peas. So they were smushy and gross, and I used to like swallow them without chewing so I could try to avoid the taste as much as possible. So I'm hoping that these sugar snap peas will give me a better experience that I can draw off of when I'm thinking about eating peas. So we'll give it a try and see. Next we have beans. I do love beans. So I don't know what I'll do with the kidney beans. They're probably just gonna be good just to cook and eat straight, just beans. But I'm really excited about that. I wanna see how many I can actually produce with the plant. So it'll be really interesting. All right, we have cayenne pepper. So this is gonna be something that I plan on dehydrating. If you saw one of my other videos, you know that Ninja is sending me a replacement foodie, and the new one is going to have a dehydrating option. So the one that they're sending me, I'll be able to dehydrate these, and then I can blend them up for a powder. So I'll have cayenne peppers, kind of the powder for adding heat and things to different dishes. I have a different type of tomato. I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes, so I'm trying to try a bunch of different varieties to see which ones I like. And this is gonna be a black Seaman tomato, so we'll be able to try it and see if it's a type of tomato I like. Tomatillos, again, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes. I've never tried a tomatillo. I imagine they're similar in taste to that. So they're gonna be interesting to try. I know you can make salsas out of these, and I do like salsas. So if all else fails, they will become salsa. Again, a different type of tomato to try. These are little cherry type tomatoes from the looks of it. So those will be interesting. It's not gonna be a whole lot of like the gooey mess inside a tomato, which I think is mentally what gets me a little unsure or gets me in my head about eating tomatoes. So this will be a different type of tomato to try, and if all else fails and I don't like them, it maybe can be used as a salsa or definitely given to the rabbits as some additional options for feed. So this is going to be my garden layout. So my garden is a 10 by 10 space. And so basically what I did is I broke it into squares, and each square represents 1 foot. So I'll have 1 foot walkways to walk through in most places. This is 2 feet. It's probably gonna be a little bit different as I go out there and I start planting things. But I have like my tomatoes, my tomatillos, all those items that are gonna be standing up are gonna be towards the back because of the way that the sun goes over my property. They'll get the most sunlight there. And then I'll have jalapenos, melons, cucumbers, lettuce, zucchini, squash, and then a whole lot of cabbage. So I'm hoping the way that I planned everything will get an adequate amount of sun. I know the standing up plants are gonna require more sun, I believe, so those are planted in an area where they will get the most sun. And then these outside areas are gonna be planter boxes that I have, and I'm going to put the watermelon in them, and then in order to make sure that the dogs don't get into them and the cat doesn't, I'm gonna put chicken wire over the top so that way nothing can get into it until it's established itself. My current garden, as you'll see when we get out there, is surrounded by pallets, so they won't be able to get into this and dig. All right, so let's head on outside and get started on planting all these. So first things first, I purchased a new hose because as you can see, this one just sprays water all over the place. The bracket's not very good, so I'm gonna replace this out with one that I just purchased from Tractor Supply. All right, so I have the new hose set up, and it is not leaking all over the place. I'm waiting for water to come out. Let's crank that up a bit. My neighbors are doing something. I don't know what it is they're doing. All right, and no leaks. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. All right, so these are some of the items that I'm going to plant. I have cilantro, oregano, parsley, rosemary, and basil, and I'm gonna plant them in this tub that I have here. I'm not really good with identifying different plants, so I'm gonna see if I can write on my tub with my Sharpie. This is just something I picked up from Tractor Supply a really long time ago, and I thought it would be good for my spices. I know the basil's gonna get kind of big, so that's probably gonna be something that, and so is the oregano. So that's probably gonna be something that I'll transplant to a different location later, but for right now, this tub I think will do well for the small amount that I'm gonna plant here. So the first thing I'm gonna plant is the cilantro. So seeds need to be placed 1 inch apart. It recommends a 15-inch spacing between rows. But like I said, I plan on keeping these plants pretty small, so they're not gonna get huge to really need 15 inches. So let's go ahead, make a hole. It says planting depth is only 1/2 of an inch. So make a really shallow hole. I don't know how many seeds you're supposed to put in, so we'll just drop a couple of seeds. Hopefully one of those will take. And I'm gonna write cilantro in here. Well, that kind of worked. So we have cilantro written there. Next one I'm gonna plant is gonna be the oregano. It also says 1 inch seed spacing, and only, oh, this must get really big. It's requesting 2 feet of difference, but again, this might be something that I'm gonna end up transplanting later. So we'll keep that in mind. And we're only doing oh wow, only 1/16 of an inch. So that's really tiny. Okay, so basically we'll just set them on top of the soil and put some soil on top of it. These seeds are so small. Like, wow, I don't know if you can see that, but they are super, super tiny. Put a few out. They went there somewhere. Wow, okay. All right, so that's in there. Gosh, I hope that takes. Guess we'll find out. All right, so that was the oregano. So next we're gonna put parsley in. The parsley says 1 inch spacing and 1/4 of an inch depth. All these seeds are bigger, so that's good. So 1/4 of an inch depth. I'm only doing 3 on this side, so let's do it over here. Do a few seeds just to make sure one of them takes. Okay, and this is parsley. So next I'm gonna do rosemary. This says 1/4 of an inch depth and 1 inch spacing. Be good on chicken. So we'll make a small, very, very small hole. Okay, I'll put a couple of seeds in there. Okay. It says to firm the soil over the seeds, so we'll just kind of pat the soil down on this side since I'm done with this side. This is gonna be rosemary. So next I'm gonna do basil. This says 1/4 of an inch of spacing, or sorry, 1/4 of an inch depth, so not very deep. Put it a little further over since our 2 big ones are gonna be over here, because this is also requesting like an 18-inch depth. So let's go ahead and pat everything down, so that way everything is firm over the seeds. Okay. Other side here. So this side is basil. And this other side was oregano. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put this outside and we'll give it a water. All right, so I have this set to shower. Ooh, that's quite a shower. I don't want to disrupt the seeds too much. Oh my gosh, this makes the most ridiculous sound. Okay. I was trying to make sure I don't. Alright. I didn't want to push the handle down all the way because it was coming out really, really hard. But that's not absolutely ridiculous. Okay, so that is set. So I'm just gonna leave this here. I'll water it every day and hopefully we'll start to see some things sprouting up. So I'm excited. All right, so this is where my pig pen was. So I'm just gonna break up the ground a little bit more. As you can see, it's already pretty broken up. But I'll break it up a little bit more, and then I'll start planting. I'm very excited about that, so we'll see how things turn out. I have my seeds and my map that I'm gonna be using, and I'm gonna just get to it, I guess. Tomatoes. First thing we're going to plant is tomatoes. It says only 1/4 of an inch deep, so very, very limited. Okay. Get! Okay, so this is my other box that I have. I'm kind of worried about the cat or the dogs getting into it. All right, everyone, so all of my seeds are planted. It's just gonna take a few weeks, I think, for us to start seeing them sprout up. But the hard part is over with. Now the waiting part begins. So hopefully everything takes. I'm here in Arizona, so I don't know what is going to be conducive to the climate that I have. I planted a lot of different varieties of stuff. So I'm hoping most of it takes, but if some of it doesn't, it's just kind of par for the course. But you'll see behind me is the area that I'm keeping my garden in. So that way the dogs can't get to it. And it's all pallet all the way around, and it has a door, so that way the dogs can't get in, and that'll protect me. All right, so I also decided to plant a couple of things in here. I have some onion in here, and garlic in here as well. So I'm not entirely sure how well they're going to do in each of these pots. It's probably going to be something I have to transplant later, but that is what I have going on in there. And then, like I showed you guys earlier, I have this big pot which has a whole bunch of spices in it.